Hello everyone.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to our webinar about petrophysical analysis using Excel software. I'm Abdullah Abdurrahman, a reservoir engineer into Reservoir Solutions Company. I would like to introduce Reservoir Solutions Company. A Reservoir Solutions Company is a company specialized in providing technical studies and courses for oil and gas companies and professionals. The company incorporates many professionals with diverse technical background related to oil and gas exploration and production. Our services technical reservoir studies, field development planning, reservoir static and dynamic modeling, economic feasibility studies, technical support for academic researches like PhD and master degrees. Also, we are assisting in writing technical papers and publishment. Also, we are providing technical petroleum courses by industry expertise, and we also provide mentorship programs. I would like to introduce our upcoming workshop about borehole image processing and interpretation. It will be 2 weeks hands-on experience workshop. We will use software to do processing and interpretation for the borehole image log like FMI, XRMI, and OBMI log. Also the acoustic logs, okay? For this course, by the end of this course or this workshop, you will be able to know the borehole image application, do processing for the log data, do manual debriefing, interpret reservoir stratigraphic, do structured depth analysis, learn how to make depth analysis, depth azimuth vector output, calibrate image data by bore data, integrate wireline logs with borehole image, learn porosity evaluation and temperature identification for carbonate reservoirs, do fracture characterization and interpretation. Also, for thin bed reservoirs, you will do evaluation by temperature identification and sand counting. Also, we will do processing and interpretation for acoustic image. I think that is the first time to introduce such course on online platform to do processing and interpretation for electric borehole image and also acoustic image. The course package will include lifetime access to recorded session. So if the timing of the course is not suitable according to the time in your country, you will have the recorded courses, you will have the recorded sessions and all the course material. So you can revisit at your suitable time. Also, you will have data sets for application on software because the workshop is application based. Also, you will have the course material. Also, if you have any question, even during or also after the course, or even after the course, you can ask the instructor even after the course. So you will have open discussion. At the end of the workshop, you will have a certificate with online identification ID on our website. So every certificate that will exported by Reservoir Solutions Company has a certain code, So the course content, for details about the course content, I will send it into the Zoom chat so you can review at your convenient time. So if you wanted to register for that workshop, I will send a link into the Zoom chat so you can register into that course. About our today workshop, the instructor for our today workshop is Inj Gafari Muhammad. He has a bachelor in geophysics engineering with background in mathematics at INH Boumerdis University at Algeria. He has about 8 years of oil and gas industry experience, including more than 7 years as Petrophysics, working with association company between Sonatrach and Principal RWE edition in Algeria fields. He also involved in complex reservoir studies, skilled in petrophysical modeling and reservoir characterization, such saturation modeling, core data integration, and geomechanics studies. As usual, for webinar rules, if you have any question related to the course, you can ask it into the Zoom chat. Please mute your microphone and camera. In case that you wanted to have a certificate for attendance of the workshop, you can fill in the form that will be sent into the Zoom chat. For upcoming events like courses and webinars, you can join our Telegram channel, and also you can contact us via mail and WhatsApp. Thank you all, and Engineer Ghaffari, you can start.
Hello, you hear me?
Yes, you can hear. Yeah, you can share your presentation.
You say my presentation?
Yeah, you can start, inshallah.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome with this workshop for the petrophysical analysis in Excel software. The idea of this workshop to include some idea about Excel and what is the benefits of the geoscience engineering or petrophysical between brackets engineering about the Excel, because this Excel is a huge software. We can use it from the economic, from biology, from everything, but it's not consumed for only the petrophysical geoscience. We have provide a lot of function from static and probabilistic, and mathematical function is we can use for our domain of geoscience or petrophysics or geology, or to evaluate the benefits of this software. We can use it with the laptop with the low property. We don't need more high type of the processes or with the memory or something like this, and we can working without any connection with server or license between brackets as like free software. In this workshop, as agenda, I prepare some okay. As agenda, I prepare some data about today as brief presentation, and for this workshop, 1 hour or 15 minutes is not enough for study or introduce all my knowledge between brackets for this software or for Excel software. Not talking, for example, here what is the importance of the Excel of geoscience engineering, and what we can do, what is the benefits if you have only this software, what is The importance for, especially we are working in the desert, in the wells, in the rig sites, is very far to the office. And second highlight point will be what is the knowledge and tools are needed to create in geoscientific Excel sheet, and how to load the paper and how to load data and plot it in Excel, and what is the methodology and what is type of the plot, logarithmic, linear. I will show some example like gamma ray and resistivity. And also our issue for example, for geoscience, all the time we have some data, we need some filtering because we record the data and in the depth with 3,000, 4,000 meters with different condition, and we need some filtering this data before using and QC. And I will show here one example is easy to do in Excel with medium and smoothing, and one option in the Excel also FFTT is fast formation transformation. This is for separation, like separation or like filtering by frequency. And one of the easy way to do in Excel this calculation for everything, to apply any equation, any easy to use in Excel without any background for any language or any language programming. Example, I will do some example for VCLA and plotting the result with some shading. This is like the professional software IP or Taclog or Petra or something like this, with some color, with shading between the color to present the result and the relatively result between the code. One of the most important plot is cross plot in the petrophysics example. The cross plot, I will put here one example for neutron density example with overlay, how to load in this overlay in the Excel, and what is the source of this overlay. We'll present some idea about how to load it like image or like data. One of the most important benefits for this professional software is selecting or picking the parameter, because as you know, we are in geoscience, we have a lot of parameters, depend on the data, depend on the field, depend on the condition. But the picking or selecting of this data is not easy to do by manually, and depend on the zone, depend on the area, depend for many things. I will present or show you how to create some selecting interactively by mouse. Only click the mouse and select directly from the cross plot. I will put one example for from the plot, like when you calculate the VCLA from gamma ray clean and gamma ray clay. And another example from the cross plot, when you neutron density will how to pick or to take or to estimate the neutron dry clay or neutron or sandstone or matrix, sonic matrix, density matrix, neutron matrix. And in advanced petrophysical software of Excel, you can provide some idea about how you can do some advanced petrophysical interpretation or method like principal component analysis to use huge variation and to summarize and plot in one slide, for example. One of the advanced petrophysical also is clustering analysis by K-mean. This will be used for the facies prediction or rock typing. And in the end, we'll showing some slide, some idea about mineral solver. Also, we are using only the Excel function like solver. Let's starting with the importance. The importance of Excel in geoscience. Here, the possibility to create sample and advance any routine calculation. You don't need any knowledge for any programmation or something like this. We have huge availability of the most important function for static, mathematical, probabilistic, because this software is created for all the world, for the medicine, for the economic, for engineering. Easy to manipulate and easy to plot the data and QC, like this lab in this picture and below. We have all our data from caliper, gamma ray, resistivity, and the different type of the resistivity and neutron density and so on. To checking your data before sending to the office or sending inside of the rig site, we don't need any as tools, proper tools. We don't need any software to checking you have data or we have any missed data. And also the cost of this software between brackets is like free, because for any laptop or any computer we can find this software, especially for individual or for geoscience engineering. Before starting any geoscience Excel sheet or any project of Excel, we need to understand something about the configuration of the Excel, especially for developer. Especially for this two icon for customer Ruben, data and developer. Developer to create macro, routine macro, sample or complicated, and also for the controls to take some buttons, cross some the tools to calibrate or to running to stop any routine. And also from data we have, for example, this solver we'll see in the mineral solver analysis. This for optimization with different conditions we can use it, and to give the user as the most important or more optimistic data depending on the condition and input and output. We can, before we go to the next slide, we can show it how to highlight this point in Excel. If you don't have this, how to activate this development, you can go directly to all the option and customer ribbon and to select or unselect this development, because in data in default configuration will not say this configured this developer, this especially for to include new routine or a new configuration. As you say here, we activate this. We can with the macro. This macro will depend with the for every sheet. You can create some model. You can create what you want. Okay. And the data here we have different for the data. We have solver. We have different methodology to create optimization between only we need some to checking what is the maximum tip of the optimization, maximum, minimum, or some value or cutoff of value. It could be the reference value will be more than or less than, or depending on your interpretation or an objective with some constant also here added or delayed or restart, or and also we have several type of simulation of optimization here we can use. We come back to our presentation. The filter of this one very important process in the data analysis. Filter the data before using. For example, here I put resistivity and resistivity with two type of the filter. One for medium filter, one of medium filter is especially for take out this high value or abnormal value, or because we are using the medium value from the range of windows for 4 or 3 value, and here the average to smoothing the curve. And another option will provide by Excel. We can find, for example, Fourier transformation, fast Fourier transformation, random number generation. This will be we are using for the Monte Carlo analysis uncertainty. Let me show, for example, this type of the filtering in Excel. Here is easy, for example, to select this. This is average, this is medium of 3 or 4 value here, depend of the windows, depend of your interpretation. You can increase or reduce all the filter and running for all, and should be change all the depend of your interpretation. Also for the average here, you can use in the average, but depend on your interpretation also, or what is the objective of this smoothing or this filter to take out the high value or low value, or depend on the frequency. Depend. We don't need here. We are using only the function. We are using only the function from the Excel. We don't include any additional function or any additional routine, but only for Excel we are using without any problem. This is plot, for example, for resistivity. This algorithm logarithmic scale. You can say here logarithmic or linear, depending on you, inverse, or we have is more flexible to use it, or to fix the minimum and maximum for access to restart, or because it's minimum initially or par default to take the minimum and maximum of any data. Let's continue. The cross plot in Excel. This is one of the most famous type of the presentation in petrophysical or any geoscience in general of the cross plot. But this is only X and Y data like the plot. But what is source of this overlay? This in the background. What is, because we have, for example, in this cross plot we have plotting here. Plot on here neutron density with this reference data, depend of tools, depend of the company provide the logging operation. For example, here this from Schlumberger, we can provide this, or we can take this in this file, this numerical file. You can take it from any software backlog or IP or geolog from Paradigm. And another idea to cross plot or to use this cross plot, but take the background from any, if you don't have this numerical data, or we don't have any source of this numerical data, we can take for example from any PDF or any picture and loading and background in Excel. Let me show you what example of this. This is, for example, can load. If you have some image, you can load it directly from your file or your picture in the background. Like to fill this cross plot by any color. For example, if you can, I can show this or plot area, or can put what you want. Like, Hello, you hear me? Okay. In this slide, we have put it the interactive picket or interactive selection of the parameter from any template or from any plot. For example, here I put it gamma ray, gamma ray, the calculation of the VCLA from the gamma ray as single indicator. We need, as you know, with linear equation between the gamma ray and VCLA, we need the gamma ray clean and gamma ray clay. This corresponds with 100% of the sensor or 100% of the clay in this blue code. And the second one is from the neutron density as another method to calculate it. We call it in petrophysics or in geoscience double indicator. Let me show in Excel how to do it. Here, as you say my cursor and control this or following this curve blue one. This is option this is very important option in the professional software and we can use it also for Excel. This slide is not ready for Excel, but we need with some trick you can create this without any issue and provide the same result or the same benefits from it. And this is depend of the mouse position, which is depend of interpretation only. But here I show you we can do this interactively selection of this parameter. When you to pass the gamma ray will be more than less than 0. The sandstorm, that is not true. Normally we put it here. And also we can add zone, depend of your interpretation or any knowledge of this your field. And also from Excel, we can do the same thing with Excel to select the density of the clay, dry clay or matrix density, sandstone density, depending on your interpretation, and to calibrate for calculate the porosity and saturation model. Interactively, this is the same with any professional software interactively, and this is more important, is better and to consume a lot of time to pick up manually, depend of the zone, number of the field, or number of the well. How to create this for example, interactive workshop. Let me show you this, the idea here. The idea, let me, for any additional, we can take the mode design. So what's the idea here? To create some area in from this cross plot, and to take the mouse position in this area by one function from Excel is ready in Excel, to take the X and Y from in this area of the mouse, and to convert to the position in Excel, and in Excel depend of your X and X and Y axis, and depend of linear, if you have linear or algorithm or logarithmic scale. This depend of your, this we need some knowledge mathematically how to convert this position to the real or real position in cross plot. But same trick we are using here in same we are using in this plot to select to interactive with the plot by the mouse. We have another option for to move this point by scroll. Let me show you what. No, not this. We have a lot of here from the control scroll on. You name it scroll on is for control this. Okay, this is. With format control, we can choose what is the link of this. For example, let me check this. And when you move, you say here, when you move this, click here to increase or to reduce, and to say what happened in your data and your parameter. We have two options, but the interactive option with the Excel is more better than this, because this is like manually, but only with some easy input. Let's go to our presentation. Okay, this is the same example for the neutron density calculation for the clay. This is the dry neutron of dry dry clay with the water and sandstone. And this one we have 100% of the porosity and density of the water. In this example, this is another example for Picard plot. This is Picard plot, as you know. This is the more famous one in sandstone with the water binning to select very important parameter M and N in the saturation and porosity calculation. So this is, we can select, this is interactively from all professional software, and also here with the same trick we can use it to calculate, to estimate or picking this very important parameter, because this is dependent of such is directly and dependent of the of the water saturation. What you mean is the inverse of the gas saturation and the reserve and the importance. The importance of this parameter is have impact directly to the reserve or to all the benefits of the project. Let me show, for example, this in this slide also. What happened? I don't know what happened here in this. Let me close it. Because I extract from the original model, we have some problem. Pick at plot final. What happened? Close. I don't know what happened with this, but in the morning I check it is working. But anyway, no, that was time. Only this. Don't save. Let me show another example, because could be this file is destroyed, but sorry, we don't have this. Some problem here. As advanced petrophysics, we can starting with principal component analysis. This principal component analysis, this technique to reduce or to huge data, because for example, here when you are starting any facies study or any geological study, we have a lot of huge data, more than 3, 4, 5, until 9 or 20 data. We cannot plot, we cannot see any presentation, we cannot summarize all for one presentation. This principal component analysis objective to reduce the data, to select what is more important. To select what is more important direction of the variability. For example, here when if you have one two axis, the more importance variety is following this axis, and this is objective of this PC principal component analysis, and to create same number of the axes, but with some classification. PC1 is when we have the direction with the high variation, and PC2 second variation. Like in this example on 3D, in 3D we create some plan with the most important or most variable. Here also this one slide with synthetic data to present what is the idea of this principal component and what is the objective, or what is how to interpret or to understand this plot of the, because all the objective of this methodology was to project the data in one plan with the most important variability. Here I put x1 and x2 with correlation 0.5. We say here with the good correlation between the data, and here we lost the correlation between, and we can see in the plot if you have small difference, or we create some angle between this vector projection of this x1 to this plan. If you have some low correlation, will increase this angle between this x1 and x2. In x3, x2, this is in this plan, in these two data, we have negative correlation. When you increase 2, reduce x3, we say here we have 118 degree of the angle. What you mean, this -1, same vector, and with this same length of the vector and -1. And also the length of the vector is represent the importance of this data in this plan of the projection. And here between 2 and 4, we don't have any correlation, more or less is 0.002. You say is more or less is perpendicular between these two. If you say the cosinus of this angle will be 0. This is, and here for PC1, PC2, this is between these both axes, we have 92% of the variability, which means we can take out this and save the trend of the variation of this data. Here one example of the core and thin section data plotted. All the data, the huge data is more than 20 data from core facies, porosity, thickness, clay content, the quarters, feldspar sorting, all the information was coded and put in one tools of the presentation of all the data in the same way. And to say what is more important, like here, for example, the unit or the core facies environment deposit is more important, is more affected the trend of this variability. For example, here little facies or kaolinites is less importance in some porosity. For example, when you check all this data and so antidirate, oxidate, in this circle we put here the minimum and the maximum and medium, or the medium to only to select quickly what is the minimum more importance or low importance to select for the study. Let me show you in let me show you in Excel. Hopefully we don't have problem with okay. Here I select data, my data, I clean all our data, and quickly we can run it, and to say you create some projection of all data in one plan with some indicator what is more importance, low importance, and also here I can select to compare what is the by this control, this type of the control, to control what is more importance on the low importance, and to reduce my data or to include or to exclude from any analysis. And also here we can use, for example, PC, and in the histogram we have summarized for each PC1, PC2, and PC, all them. Here, for example, we are include 11 variation or 12 if you have PC10, 12 variation. We cannot use all for, especially from software, from some software, from software we have professional, we have some limit of the input data, 10 or 20, 10, 11. But if you have more than data, we cannot use all in your interpretation or in your investigation or in your study. This is the way to reduce. We don't lose the important. We don't lose any information. Only take in consideration, like to create new access with and save the variability of the cloud. We can use this as input for cluster analysis. Here, the cluster analysis also here, this is more important also methodology or algorithm to create or to predict the facies. Rock typing depend by if you have any supervised methodology or unsupervised, but in the end we need some classification to apply the same equation by class or by rock type or by. In Excel also we can do this with some algorithm, with some mathematical algorithm, and to present perfect presentation with some color depend of the type of the class, and you can provide also histogram with the color and for any report, for any presentation, too easy to understand and to explain this the interpretation of the result to the team. Let me show, for example, here this cluster analysis also. I use it as here in the same way we have, but between bracket this cluster analysis or PC principal component analysis, we need some advanced algorithm or advanced effort to create the algorithm for running or for, because we have some behind, we have in background, we have some mathematical analysis to create some algorithm. Here, for example, say is easy to create. We have cluster analysis. We can, and running with 1 second or 2 seconds, we have huge data. Here we have more than 200 data. With I post here principal components and 1 and 2 from the principal component analysis include in this classification, and the plot here you see we have some mix because this is not a real presentation. This is in the plan of PC1, PC2. Let's, for example, put it here 2 and this cluster. You say is easy to class, and we can here I create this Excel sheet to calculate until 10 for, but we can increase or reduce this type of classification depend of your knowledge of the field, and automatically calculates the classification, and you can export here. This is for every point we have the classification number, class 1, 2, 3, depend of your objective. With this rock type, facies, and to rename and to adequate to your software. Let's go to my presentation. This one result from in our project. We are using 10 section textural analysis data, a huge data, and in the end we favorize only using this data here, and the classification you say is very good classification from 10 section data with variability is more than 16%. We are losing 30% of the data, but now we have clear separation between the class and easy to understand why or what is more importance or more affected your facies as environment, organ size, porosity, sorting. From this, to create these facets to understand your modeling or to help to improve your understanding or why we have this difference between the or any variation in your model. In the end, we'll, as the proposal, advanced petrophysical for mineral solvent. This mineral solvent, this is the advanced petrophysical, is not like deterministic equation. They include the data and the parameter and with the equation to calculate the result. As you know, with the petrophysics, the objective to calculate Viclay porosity, saturation, and the permeability. But here, the objective to calculate Viclay porosity, saturation, and volume of each mineral. The origin of this data is system linear matrix. Depend of your data input. For example, sonic is, we can between bracket, we can suppose or using as linear relationship between the volume and sonic for each mineral. But the resistivity is not linear. Here in the software, in the professional software, now we are creating some non-linear mineral solver analysis, but the famous one is linear. This depends on the endpoint and the volume, and try to create to calculate the input data. For example, here in this example, we have the gamma ray, density, neutron, and conductivity. For as example, in the end, volume of each one equal the sum of each volume will give as one with some error of the construction. This is easy to use in Excel, but we don't have any. I post. Okay. I provide some try in Excel, but it's very easy then to create principal component analysis or any cluster analysis. We are using solver. Solver, this method to optimize what is the best solution or best solution of your problem with the condition with the condition. For example, here I create one example, small example with model with elite quartzite, gas and water with the gamma ray density neutron dt as input, and here create some condition for, because this is not only automatic, not only mathematically, this is part of the physics. The volume will be one, the part of the gas or part of black water volume will be 5% of the clay or something like this, and try to construct this input data. The blue one is the input data, and the red one is the curve constructed after the optimization, and in the objective to reduce this error here, error from each input curve, from gamma ray and from density, from the neutron, from dt, and in the end, some of the error should be this. My objective in this work on this algorithm to reduce the error of some of these depend. This is macro only for continuous running, all following the running all this software, all this solver from 1 to 215, only from all the row in the Excel sheet. But you applied same methodology, same condition for each row, and this result is promising. Is not exactly the same, especially here in the reservoir section. We have in the gamma ray we perfectly, and in the density also, and the sonic, but in the neutron we have some problem, because as you know, the neutron is not calculated directly. We need some correction, depend on the company, depend on salinity, depend on many different conditions. Let me show you this in Excel. solver we can show here from data. We have solver. No. And the object here, sum of all the volume should be one. In the end, this will put in the condition will put the sum will be less than one or equal than one, and this is the error calculated from each endpoint. The more importance is this endpoint. This endpoint you mean when we have the 100%, for example, of elite, what is the density of the or the quartz or the gas or the water. For example, density of the water is very famous value is one, and gamma ray of the water depend on your field or depend on your reservoir. I put here two as only for running example. More or less could be depend of your field is one or two or more than this depend of the mineral or any organic material in the water. And when you're running this, the objective to reduce this sum of the error from each curve. We can, it's not so linear, some linear, we can multiply by some condition depending on your objective to enhance the correlation between density calculate and density input, or by gamma ray, which is more confidence. Depend on your confidence of data. For example, if you have more confidence of gamma ray, we can include some coefficient of this error, and for neutron, for example, less confidence is because it depends of the whole condition or whole shape, also geometry, and also for the sonic. And the parameter of the end point, the parameter of end value or end point depend also of the reservoir. If you have different reservoir, you should, more or less is not same exactly, but time to time we need to create a model for this reservoir and model for another reservoir or for shape. If you say here, this is the starting to running this software, it take time, yes, because you have more than depend of the data, and for one row we can take 1 minute or to try and check all the condition from each row. I think this is the end of my presentation. Hopefully it was not long. Okay, and thank you for attend. Any question or any feedback or any, we are welcome. Hello. 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 If you have any question, we are welcome. What is the meaning between dry and clay and wet, between dry clay and wet clay? This is the you present this in the cross plot. Dry clay, because as you know, we are in the end, we calculate in the nature, we don't have only the dry clay, we have white clay. But from us, we need calculating saturation or is the black volume water, and this is the dry clay. Dry clay, we don't, as traduction, dry clay with clay, pure clay, the volume of the pure clay without water include on the clay or depend of the clay. Amina Al-Bada. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you for presentation. And thanks, lot of thanks, thank you. What is the procedure to carry out uncertainty analysis on evaluation petrophysical property? This Nukash, sorry for the name if you don't read the properly. I starting to create some sheet for the Excel sheet for the uncertainty analysis, but it's not finalized. We can running. We can, for example, in the internet, if you search, we can find some for. It's not for the petrophysical or geoscience, but we can find it concern the economic or the another domain, another discipline. But from the petrophysics, we don't have any idea about if you have this, if you see this before or not. But we can create it. This only check the range of the parameter and the parameter you need, and randomly selected by the software only. Why there is strong variation between the porosity calculated from different conventional log in the carbonate. This depends of the limit. This depends of the porosity provided by the tools. Some tools provide total porosity or fictive porosity, or we cannot talking in general why we have this difference. Depend also of the limitation of the tools or the condition. Some tools, for example, Sonic is not affected by washout, but density, if you have small washout or more or less depend of zone. Also, we create a lot of garbage data. We cannot use this. Create also a difference, the big difference between the result. In which case, mineral solver will be misleading also for conventional analysis. Depend. The mineral solver more important to select the end point and to understand the relationship between the volume of the mineral and the mineral and the tools. For example, Sonic, this question, if you can respond for each question, Sonic is linear with the different volume, and also the knowledge or your knowledge of the mineral content in your field. If you on your some model and to try to simplify your model, for example, in some model we have the chloride is more affixed. If you in your this mineral will be you give as a garbage data. Thank you very much. Can the gamma ray data take during the barrel core measurements be used the reference data for actual core depth in the field? The core gamma ray from the core. This is the way how to measure this gamma ray, and the tip of this gamma ray. And time to time, some noisy a lot because it's taking by hand and it's not like tools with the same speed, with same controlled speed and control. But with filter, we can enhance the quality of this and try to compare directly with the but the reference should be all time will be the log from the well, it's not from the core. The core only for shifting or as a reference or to compare what is the right position of the core to your log. Thanks. Can give me Excel file presentation. Okay, contact me in the LinkedIn. I will share with you what I can do. For V-shale distribution, can you explain how to know that situation? We have, example, logarithmic normal data distribution. For the V-shale distribution, I don't understand your question exactly, but Alioun, for V-shale distribution, can you explain how to know at what situation we have to, for example, logarithmic normal that depend of your data, but logarithmic, I don't believe logarithmic because we are this depend of the lithology or the like I cannot give you any answer like global answer of this question, but depend of your field and your data. But distribution of the weekly normally will be is not no logarithmic. Logarithmic distribution normally will have only the in the resistivity or the permeability. Thank you, Shep. S3. Has there been any Google Drive or any relevant file to leak gives in shot? Can you share this one just to join this meeting and my Alien, thank you. I think this time to close this meeting. Thank you for attend this presentation and see you. We'll meet you for more advanced or more interactive workshop between the team or between the gas and oil community. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Jafari, for your time and effort conducting for this interesting session. I think that all the attendees benefit new information about how to make petrophysical analysis on Excel sheet. So thank you all to make the interpretation more easy and more accessible through Excel software.
Okay, thank you. This idea for new engineering is not depend directly to the software. Try to practice to understand what is the meaning of the equation and before starting the working with software. And the objective is not because I contact a lot of people from new or junior engineering, but you don't understand what you do, only clicking in software and in the end give us any data without any control. We don't understand source of the error and source of any problem. This is the objective of this workshop, to highlight without software we can do everything. We need only thinking and to use what we have, for example, in Excel. Thank you,
Yes,
Mohammed.
yes. Thank you
Again, solution for this opportunity also.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Jafari, for your time and also like all the attendees for attending for this one-day workshop. In case that you miss any information on anything about this workshop, you can find it into our YouTube channel, inshallah. Contact us for more information and details about upcoming courses and events. And also, I would like to remind you that if you would like to register for our upcoming course, the link was sent into the Zoom chat. Again, if you wanted to have a certificate for attendance for this workshop, you can fill into the certification form that will be sent now to the Zoom chat. Thank you again and have a good time.